everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Offsides and On One, a hockey podcast where we're loud, proud, and probably in the penalty box. I'm your host, Devin Moore, and we have a lot to talk about this week, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so first up, I want to talk about some top headlines from around the league. And obviously the biggest thing we've seen so far was the Austin Matthews injury, so I'm going to go ahead and get into some injury updates first. Like I said, Austin Matthews was injured on Thursday, March 12th during a game versus the Ducks when he took a knee-on-knee hit from Radko Gudas. That sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? But anyway, Matthews suffered a grade 3 MCL tear, which is a severe ligament tear in his left knee. And this is a season-ending injury for him, and he will miss the remainder of the season and the playoffs if the Leafs had any hopes of the playoffs. But he will be reevaluated after a couple of weeks, and early reports suggest that there's hope he may avoid surgery and long-term recovery shouldn't affect next season. The hit and injury caused a lot of controversy, including a debate about player safety and discipline in the NHL, and this even got attention from Connor McDavid, but stay tuned because we will be talking more about that issue later. Anyway, next up, speaking of the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl will also miss the rest of the regular season with a lower body injury. He suffered the injury last week against the Predators when he took a hit from Ozzy Weisblatt along the boards. Thankfully, this injury won't require surgery, and there's a possibility that he could play in the playoffs if the Oilers manage to hold it together. And then finally, for the injury update, this happened several weeks ago, so I'm just going to kind of glaze over it. But Tyler Seguin will also miss the rest of the regular season and the playoffs with a torn ACL. Again, that happened a while ago, so that's a bit of old news. But in other news, the Pittsburgh Penguins are the second coming of Christ. Anyway, so Gino's back from jail. He got suspended after that ridiculous slash on Rasmus Dahlin. Sid is back from injury. Stuart Skinner's playing like prime Marc-Andre Fleury. And the Pens survived what was supposed to be a road trip from hell. But they didn't just survive it. They beat the best team in the league 7-2. But anyway, stay tuned for more of that later again because Penguins are goated. But anyway, more on that later and back to regular league news. Radko Gudas got suspended for 5 games following that hit on Matthews, only 5 games. And this sparked a lot of talk about player safety, which again, we'll talk more about later. So stay tuned for this week's Red Line rant. But again, as I mentioned a minute ago, Sidney Crosby made his return to the NHL after missing 11 games after he was hurt during the Olympics with the one and only Radko Gudas. But anyway, he did score in his return last night against the Hurricanes, where the Pens did ultimately lose in overtime, but that was not due to a lack of effort. They put on an amazing game. In news outside of the NHL, the USA sled hockey team won gold at the Paralympics, giving Team USA a perfect sweep in hockey. They beat Canada for gold 6-2, and this marked the first time in Team USA history that all the hockey teams brought home gold. Jack Wallace scored a hat trick in this game and really took charge in this win over the Canadians. Also outside the NHL, it was announced a few weeks ago that the first ever nationally televised PWHL game will be on March 28th. This game will be the Detroit takeover game between the Victoire and the Sirens, and you can watch it on Ion Network, making this game available to over 126 million households. Now, finally, the location for this year's NHL Global Series was also announced last week. The Blackhawks will play the Senators in Dusseldorf, Germany this December. The games will be held December 18th through 20th, so that'll be a super fun little pre-Christmas event. And the Global Series are always super fun to watch, especially when it's fun young teams like the Sens and the Blackhawks. Now I want to shift into some playoff talk since we're getting closer and closer to the playoff time. So the regular season concludes on April 16th, and that means we're less than a month from the playoff action. And we're going to cover some top contenders, and I feel like these are always the teams we talk about as contenders this time of year. So obviously the strongest contender right now is the Avalanche. They have one of the best records in the league. They have elite stars like McKinnon and Makar, and they're still leading the Central Division despite some recent tight games because they were so far ahead in the points. Then, of course, we have the Stars. They're right behind Colorado. They're only 2 points back right now, actually. And they just beat the Avalanche in a really big matchup. So they're showing that they can hang with them and could give them a big run for their money. Now we get into the East, where it's much more chaotic. The Hurricanes are currently leading the Metro, and this team is always built for the playoffs. We talk about this every year. Again, all of these teams are always contenders at this time of the year. But strangely, the Hurricanes never really seem to get anywhere. Every year we talk about how strong of a contender they are, but nothing ever comes of it. So don't hold your breath for the Hurricanes. But anyway, the East doesn't really have any clear favorites right now because things are so tightly contested. It could really go any way, but watch out for those Penguins. I'm telling you. I mean, prime Norris Erik Karlsson is back. So you watch out for those Penguins, folks. But anyway, the bubble race is also incredibly close in the East, with the Red Wings, the Blue Jackets, the Senators, Flyers, and Capitals are all right on the playoff bubble right now, and they're all fighting for a spot. The teams in the East are so close in the standings that the full playoff picture might not get put together until the final game of the regular season, and if we continue following down this path, that's exactly how it's going to go. Okay, so that wraps up all of the news from around the league in the little playoff segment. Now I'm going to get into What the Puck. And this week's What the Puck is really small because nothing like too crazy happened. But this was something that stuck out to me. And it's probably only something that really I care about, but I don't care. So my two worlds have collided because my favorite race car driver, IndyCar driver Pato O'Ward, was at a Stars game last week. He said that it was his first proper hockey game and that he was hoping to see a fight. And they put on a great game for him. The Stars beat the Golden Knights that night 2-1, so he got to see a good game. And maybe the Stars have made a hockey fan out of Pato, which would be incredible. I just thought this was really cool because the NHL and IndyCar are my two favorite leagues. IndyCar's a series, whatever. But I just thought that was really cool. You don't really see racing and hockey cross paths too often, so I just thought that was fun to see. Anyway, go watch an IndyCar race. They race next weekend in Alabama, so watch an IndyCar race. You won't regret it. They're fun. Okay, so remember earlier when I mentioned that I was going to be talking about this again in the Red Line Rant, so here we are at this week's Red Line Rant. So this Red Line Rant deals with a very hot topic right now, which is player safety. Now, obviously, this has been a heavily discussed topic since the Matthews injury, but the league has been under lots of fire recently. So the main issues are that dangerous hits are causing serious injuries and that punishments are generally too weak and are incredibly inconsistent. Like I said, the Matthews injury has recently sparked this. So his season was ended, obviously, when he took that knee-on-knee hit from Gudas, and Gudas was only served a 5-game suspension. Mind you, Evgeny Malkin was just suspended for the same amount of time for a far less severe infraction. Obviously, Malkin definitely should have been punished for that slash on Dahlin, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, he literally there was a little scuffle. Gino just raised his stick and just smacked Dahlin in the side of the neck with the stick. It was stupid. But he got suspended for the same amount of time that Gudas did for hitting Austin Matthews in a very dirty way and ending his season. With that situation, like, Dahlin didn't miss any time. Matthews is missing the rest of the season. So obviously people are connecting the dots and realizing that the punishments don't match the damage and that the punishments are incredibly inconsistent as well. Players, coaches, and agents argue that this punishment was way too lenient for the offense of Gudas. And the system set up by the NHL is all sorts of messed up because it limits harsher punishments due to the hearings. So in this situation, Gudas got a phone hearing, and the maximum suspension for a phone hearing is five games. And to give a longer suspension, the league would have to have an in-person hearing. And people around the league believe that similar hits get very different punishments, and repeat offenders don't get harsher discipline. Cough, cough, Tom Wilson. Literally, as I was writing some of this down and getting facts together, I got a notification about the Pinto hit. The Tom Wilson just shoulder right to the head of Shane Pinto behind the net. And he does that all the time, constantly, and there's never a hearing, there's never a fine, there's never nothing. So there's little evidence there for you, but you would think that the league would want to protect their star players, considering how bad the Leafs are right now, especially. The only reason non-Leafs fans are tuning into Leafs games is for Austin Matthews, especially new American fans after the Olympics. And now that that's gone, there's no reason for it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And the NHL's response to this was that they judge the play itself and not the injury, and that they follow a consistent process for all incidents, but it doesn't seem like it. Because if you did, Tom Wilson would have been fined for that hit on Shane Pinto last night. So, but anyway, overall, fans are just concerned about that the league isn't taking enough care in dealing with these situations, and that the league stars are at risk. In my opinion, the league system definitely needs a second look. I mean, every time something like this happens, this topic comes up again and again. The fines and suspensions are kind of a joke at this point. I mean, if you're only going to get 5 games for blowing up someone's knee, like, why not just take out your biggest rival's star? I'm not saying that would happen, but clearly Gudas is collecting superstars' knees like Infinity Stones. I mean, like, McDavid probably spoke out about this because he's worried he's next. But luckily, the Oilers don't play the Ducks that often, so he'll probably be fine. But there's definitely some changes that need to be made. I mean, if players are worried about their own safety and consequences for injury, then something's got to give. But before I wrap this up, I also want to say that I totally get it from the league's point of view. I'm sure that they felt that this was an appropriate punishment for the issue. But again, 5 games is light. Too light. Especially, again, since Evgeny Malkin was suspended for the same amount of time for something that did not result in the injury that this did. The Malkin issue was just a jerk move. If I'm being honest, it was just like, why did he do that? But anyway, I feel like 10 games would have sufficed. You know what I mean? Like 10 games probably would have been good, but that, I don't know. That should have called for an in-person hearing, but God forbid we do that. I don't understand it. I don't understand it, and the league just needs to review some things. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get into the winners and losers of this week. So, first up, we have 2 winners this week, and this is kind of an all-encompassing winner because I didn't have specifics here, but our first winner this week are all of the players, coaches, and staff at the Minnesota High School Hockey Tournament. So, if you missed it, the last few weeks have been the Minnesota High School State Hockey Tournament, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, high school hockey tournament in the country. And every year I love seeing all of the craziness that comes out of this tournament. I especially want to highlight the student staff and all of their incredible outfits behind the bench. A lot of these student managers put on some really incredible outfits. I saw giant fur coats, full fisherman outfits with fishing poles and disco suits. And I also want to shout out all of the incredible player intros and the wonderful haircuts and colors we saw during those. Just terrible, terrible bleach jobs. A bleach and tone, there is no tone. But you gotta love it. They're absolutely incredible. And another winner that I'm just remembering as I'm doing this is the Barbie and CCM collab, because that was super sick. They have all sorts of really cool merch. There's like beanies and everything. Everything's the Barbie pink. And they also have a really sick Barbie stick that is really, really cool. So shout out to CCM and Barbie for that awesome collab. So now we're going to go ahead and get into our losers. We only have one loser this week. And our loser this week is Target. Yes, Target, the store. I have a bone to pick with them because I was there yesterday actually. And you know the NHL sticker books, the Topps sticker books that they come out with every year. They had the books, a brand new box, full, didn't look like there was any taken out of their box of the sticker books. But there were not a single pack of the stickers. Like, not even a place for them, no tag, nothing. I was so excited seeing the sticker books, thinking that like they would have the sticker packs there, but the packs were nowhere to be seen. Like I said, not even a place for them to be. And like, I don't like to buy the sticker books because I would drive myself nuts trying to get all of them to fill the entire book, and I would absolutely drain my bank account. But I like to just buy the packs because I put them on everything. Like everything. I love stickers. I put stickers on literally everything. And I just want to buy the packs. They're cheap, they're fun, and I want stickers of my favorite players. It's just like, give me my sticker packs. They had all of the books and no packs. So like, why were they nowhere to be found, Target? And I even went on the Target website and like tried to find them. They don't even have the books on the website, and they don't have the packs on the website either. And like, I know you have them because I saw them in the store. But yeah, I even went to Walmart to see. I was like, well, if Target has them, maybe Walmart would have them. And again, fresh box. It looks like they were just put out. No stickers to be found. But I was like, maybe they'll have the stickers at Walmart, and I would buy the whole box. But they did not have them at Walmart either. So I guess Walmart can also be a loser, but at least they didn't have the books and not the stickers. It's very upsetting. And also, I bought a pack of the OPG, the new like fat packs for this season that they're supposed to have Four Nations cards in them. And I bought them thinking, it says on the pack that there's supposed to be Four Nations cards. It's like you get 3 or 4 elite rookies and or Four Nation cards. So like, maybe I think I got the or, but I opened some with my cousin. Well, my cousin opened some last week and he got a bunch of Four Nations cards. So I was like, I want some of those. And I got the last pack and I did not get a single Four Nations card. So that's another bone to pick with Target. Why didn't I get it? I guess that's more of an OPG issue, not a Target issue, but I don't care. Where were my Four Nations cards? All right, that's going to wrap up our losers for the week. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the hockey card segment. It still is bag of hockey cards, but again, I don't have my bag. So I chose to highlight a card again this week, but this week's card that I'm highlighting is very, very cool. So I am the owner of the world's only 24 karat Labubu. Just kidding. But I am very excited about this card because if you've seen this card on the screen that I have up for you right now, this is one of the most memed hockey cards on the internet. And I pulled this card. My Nana got me a box of the fancy Upper Deck cards for Christmas, and I pulled this. And I about lost my mind because this is the memed Macklin Celebrini card with that weird face that he's making, but it's the silver hollow version. And I'm sitting on a gold mine. I'm going to pay my college debt with this one day. But anyway, this is like just a very like, it's a kind of generic card, but like I saw this exact card listed on eBay, and it's not like a super, it's rarer because it's the, hollow version, but it's not like incredibly rare or anything. But like, it got listed on eBay for several $1,000s just because it's been memed so much. And yeah, I'm just very proud of myself because I pulled it. Like, I didn't buy it or anything. I have witnesses. I pulled it out of a pack. But yeah, this is just a super cool card, and I keep it in one of those magnet cases, and then it's on a locked case on my wall. Yeah, that's gonna wrap up Bag of Hockey cards, I guess, then. And this was kind of a short episode. I didn't mean for it to be, but I guess I just really blew through everything pretty quickly. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have this week. Thanks for tuning in, and sorry for the the really short episode, but should be back to regularly scheduled programming, normal length episodes next time. Again, I don't know why this turned out so short, but yeah, that's all I got. Maybe it's because I didn't have really any internet shenanigans this week. I bet that's what it was. There weren't really anything that stuck out to me this week on the internet. So sorry, no internet shenanigans. But yeah, I think that's all. And go ahead and wrap this up. And I'll see you all next episode. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on social medias. Everything is linked in the description. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.